Okay, thank you, Engineer Muhammad. Hello, everyone. Today we are back to our long-awaited webinar series, and I'm thrilled that Engineer Ahmed Shafiq shall be leading this return. The webinar title is Pre-Startup Safety Review, or PSSR, and will be presented by the one and only Engineer Ahmed Shafiq, one of the renowned names in the industry, a chemical engineer with more than 20 years of experience. His journey was between Worley Parsons, Oryx, Qatar Gas, Docom, and now leading the process safety management in Dangote refinery. He's also a certified cell assessor and actually a fan's favorite. Without further ado, please, Engineer Ahmed, take the lead.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأسعد الله مساءكم جميعا أينما كنتم. Good evening, dear all, and thank you, باشمهندس رضا, for this great introduction. I hope that I deserve even 10% out of this. As usual, you are teaching us how to be humble and kind.
Just a brief.
جزاك الله كل خير يا هندسة. And just may I ask the participants if we have any non-Arabic speaker right now available?
I noticed, yes, someone. I think he's still there. Maybe he left us, yeah.
So if until we have non-Arabic speaker, let's proceed in Arabic. I'd suggest that we need to start these sessions in an English language, because it's a matter as Engineer Reda, he advised also that this is a part of our internal development. So now in the industry, in oil and gas industry, most of the terminology, the way the contractors we are working with, the engineering consultancies, they are using the English language. So starting from now onwards, we are trying to start introducing our webinars in English language. Hopefully, we will come to do it in other languages as well, but at least for the time being, we can start with the English language. So just to confirm, for the time being, we don't have any non-Arabic speaker.
I saw someone, but he left now. So,
okay,
I believe all the names I can see now are Arabic names.
All right, so we can continue, and once we have any non-Arabic speaker, I believe he will intervene and just ask questions what we are saying. So السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أسعد الله مساءكم جميعا، وحشتوني جدا 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 جدا، ومرحبا بكم مرة أخرى مع بروسيس انجينيرنج كوميونتي، ومع البلاتفورم المحترم ده اللي بيضم كل المهندسين والمهندسات الأفاضل، ومع باشمهندس رضا رشوان الفاوندر وواحد من الجريت ممبرز في the process engineering industry in the Middle East and North Africa. يعني انا لو حبيت اعرف عن باشمهندس رضا، فانا مش هيكفيني المحاضره دي كلها ان انا اعرف عليه، بس يكفيني ان هو واحد من ضمن الخبرات الكبيره اللي موجوده فعلا. خليني اقول على الاقل حاجه بسيطه، ان انت يعني انا بتقدم من البروسس انجينيرنج، واحد من البروسس انجينيرنج مانجرز المعدودين على الصوابع التقال اللي موجودين في مصر، فده شرف كبير ليا. So I'm back. شايفيني يا جماعه وسامعيني كويس؟
Yes, now we can, yeah. I think we are joined now by Mr. Daniel, so we will have to.
No problem. So I don't think if if you have, or if you face any uncertainty while I'm doing the presentation, please stop me and ask, or you can put your question in the chat box, and we will discuss it after we finish the webinar. And this is just an internal discussion between one team. So we are one team, and we are aiming toward one goal. So let's do it. Let me share the screen, and you can see my screen now. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you, sir. So today our interesting topic that we thought of starting this reviving our platform once again is a PSSR. So I thought of the idea came about the topic that we are for a long time we didn't start doing our webinars. This is exactly like you have having a plant under shutdown for a long time, or a project which is under construction, or a unit which is out of service for a long time. So you need to revive it back and start it. So let's do a PSSR, pre-startup safety review. That's why I was thinking what topic I can bring to you to bring you back to this platform. So I thought of the PSSR as one of the nice topics, interesting and touching all of the industry, whatever discipline you are in, whether it's process, chemical, or any other process operation, safety, PSM, mechanical, electrical, instrumentation and control. It's touching you by all means, whether you are from an engineering side, whether you are from construction side, whether you are from an operation side or OPCO side. So it's touching you at the end. So this is our topic today, and it's PSSR. Sometimes this terminology is referred by pre-startup safety review, and sometimes it's coming as an operational readiness requirement. So that's why I mentioned the topic here as PSSR, pre-startup safety review or operational readiness, because both of them are part or a key part we will understand together along this journey. But in order to go through this, you need to remember some basics about the process safety management, because PSSR is a key process safety element. So just let's have an overview, quick overview on a PSM and what is the process safety difference between process safety management, and process safety management systems. So process safety, it's the concern that or any concern arises from losing the control of a containment, losing the control or losing the containment of a hydrocarbon, so that it or of a risk that will be escalated and propagated, and it will go beyond your control. So the whole this has come to a process safety. The whole subject come under the process safety. And when we talk about the process safety, so we need to identify what are the risks available. So in order to identify the risks available, you need to understand the hazards associated with your industry, hazards available, and what are the risks. So how can I identify or estimate the risk? This is by knowing the frequency or the likelihood of this risk to happen, and how much the severity, or how far the severity can, or the consequences can reach. Both of them together brought for you the risk level. So once you identify the risk level, you need to have management system in place in order to control this loss of control. See, so you have to have your mitigation, or you have to have your barriers just to eliminate the occurrence, and if it occurs, how to eliminate the severe consequence, how to control it. So before I start, just this a quick safety moment related also to PSSR. A healthy body is this equation. The healthy body is an intersection between a healthy mind, healthy body, and healthy spirit. So you can correlate it to PSSR, which is a healthy PSSR is required to make sure that you have a healthy design or healthy engineering work, healthy construction, and finally healthy operations. So the three of them intersecting together is formed by the PSSR. Back to our topic, that when this here just to identify the elaborate on the discussion about the process safety. So it's actually the intention to reduce the risk of loss of control and containment, as well as mitigating their effects. As we said, here the aim of process safety is to reduce the risk of losing the control, and apply the mitigation, apply the barriers, the recommendations, okay, the resolution that will eliminate the occurrence of this risk, or to contain or to limit the consequences. And these risks are related to, since we are in hydrocarbon industry, we are talking about explosions, fires, toxic releases. which are really so severe in consequence. And process safety management is our concern. When we stand as process safety management, we stand to take care of this, to make sure that this will not happen. And how we are doing this? We are doing this by implementing process safety management systems, which is a comprehensive management system, including many process safety elements. Each one of them is a key safety element required to eliminate one risk. You will find a lot of them talking to personal commitment. Some of the personal commitment is extended not from employee level only, not from junior level only. It start and it should start from a management level, because the main intention to drive anything is to be supported by management. At the end, if you do whatever you are doing to prepare a process safety management system and you don't have the management support, or management are not willing to do that, so it's useless, because it will never be implemented. So this is some of the process management PSM elements. We will go to some process safety elements related to commitment, some process safety elements related to understanding the hazards, process safety elements related to how to manage the risks, and finally process safety elements related to learning. And learning is very important, because whatever we are facing in the industry, whatever our former colleagues and our history and records, we don't have just to keep in drawers. We have it to learn from, and we have it to make use of this lesson learned and implement it. And we have to audit ourselves. We have to check our gaps, and we have to identify it and scope it and highlight it, and then try to take the mitigation to resolve any issue, just to make sure that you are not facing this again. Or after you leave this company, go for another company, no one else will come and fail in the same gap again, because you just didn't capture the record. So these are process safety elements. Time. When we go to a process safety management system, there are different systems of or international systems or international standards, if I can call it standard, and I can call it standard actually. We have process safety management system is very good one. It's one of the initial ones that was implemented. Actually, it's the first one was implemented as a process safety management system. Following that, OSHA came to the picture. Then CCPS come with its risk-based process safety approach. Then we came to Shell, generated their own standard. They call it asset integrity and process safety management. And so we have on ground, we have around 5 process safety management systems. First one is DuPont, and as I mentioned, they started from 1960 to develop this process safety management, and they call it process safety risk management. Following that, OSHA, they started by 1993 to develop one regulation for the process safety management, and the Energy Institute provided their own CCPS for risk-based process safety approach, and finally Shell standard. So these are international standards. So this was just, we need to highlight this. We need to make spot on this. We need to tell others. We need, when you put yourself in a new company that developing the process safety management, and people there are unaware or they don't care about process safety, for them this is a bureaucratic or inhibiting approach. Tell them, guys, we have process safety management system supported by international bodies, supported by international companies, supported by international standards. We have 5 major standards, and you can tell them, refer to the standards, and they can go and learn about it. Or you can just refer the standard, or you can pick the best solution, which is you refer to the standard and you give them a hint about each standard, so that they will start link their mind and their thinking with the process safety management and how it comes and how it runs. So just to give you an overview, all of them, just to make sure that there is no confusion, there is no process safety management better than the other. All of them are talking, if you go in detail, in these 5 process safety management systems, you will find that they are talking about the same subjects, but sometimes some systems are integrating elements together. Some of them are disintegrating elements. My opinion, and it's my personal opinion, and that's what I'm going with, is always go for the disintegrated elements, because it will disintegrate to the fine element, and that's how you can make sure that you are covering properly the process safety management system. So we have DuPont, they have 14 element. We have OSHA, they have their famous 14 element. We have Energy Institute and CCPS risk-based process safety management system. Both of them are 20 elements. And we have Shell asset integrity and PSM standard, which is, I think it's 14 elements as well. So this is just to give you the flavor why process safety management is important. And it's not important only for companies or at the level of individuals and companies. No, it's at the level of organizations. So since organizations are making sure of that and creating regulations, creating standards, creating rules, that's not for fun, or that's not nice to have. That means to say these things have been developed because of major accidents happen in the history. And unfortunately, we learn by this. That's how we all learn. I'm saying unfortunately, it's accepting positivity and negativity. Negativity because an accident happened, maybe loss of life, maybe uh, loss of life as a major thing, up down to lost time injury or a first aid case. And this is also will be, unfortunately, I don't want anyone in my team or in my company or the human beings to be hurt. And also it's positive because as it happened, we take the action and we develop the process safety management system. So as these organizations, as these international bodies took the effort to do these systems, this means definitely this is very important to be followed. And I'm not going to take it piece by piece. I will pick whatever I want and I will leave whatever I want. No. When you follow one of these systems, make sure that you are follow each element to the end. You are following this, you are developing this element, and you are complying with this one, and you are implementing. Actually, you monitor yourself, you audit yourself, and the management audit you and identify where are the gaps and work to resolve the gaps. This is how you create it, or else forget about it and do your facility without process safety management and feel free. But unfortunately, the refinery or the plant or the petrochemical industry or the gas plant or the LNG facility, it will never continue running smoothly, and it will have a lot of reliability issues. And unfortunately, you'll have fatalities, you will have loss of time injury, you have medical treatment cases. At the end, this is on our level. From an ownership perspective, the owner of this facility, however, either it's a person, or it's an organization, or it's a government, this owner will lose money. So if you are aiming to escape or to skip one of these process safety elements just to expedite the production, unfortunately, you are moving toward a hard rock wall.
Yeah, I have one attendee saying that he cannot hear us well. So is that the case for the rest of us, or can you hear us well?
You can hear.
Hello, guys.
Can you confirm, please?
We hear you very well.
Confirmation. So please, Mr. Daniel, it may be at your side, so please check. Okay. Okay. We can hear Mr. Ahmed well. Okay. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, I have been saying something, so I hope that you all hear me.
Okay, I can hear you. Sounds okay, clear. Yes, we can. Okay, thank you, guys. Okay.
Mr. Ahmed, excuse me.
تفضل.
You talk about there is a 5 standard. احنا بنتكلمنا ان في 5 standard related to process safety. What about NABUSH process safety management? NABUSH.
One of the process safety management systems. I didn't. I hear when I try to mention process safety management system, I didn't mention that those are the only process safety management systems. I just brought from the oldest one to one of the newest ones, and I didn't mention all. And there are other process safety management systems applied by other organizations, by other entities. So I didn't mention all.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and that-
Thank you.
but I'll tell you something, sir, and thank you so much for your point. It's a very valid point. As I just want to highlight what I have said in one sentence, that all the process safety management systems, since they start creating it up till now, are talking about the same topics. But the point is the integration and disintegration of elements. So you will find the PSM for NIPOSH and the OSHA and the HL1 and the Energy Institute. You are talking about the same subject, but different elements in name, in terms of names. Is it clear, sir?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. So now we came to know that we have process safety management systems and they are important to be implemented. So let's go about the pillars. As I mentioned, and we need to agree that this is the platform that we need to move through. PSM pillar, process safety management pillars, the main cornerstones is to understand, first of all, to take the commitment that you are going to have a process safety management system, because the commitment means the consent, means that we are transparent and we will implement it. We need to be safe. We need to operate our facility properly. We need to have minimum number of unplanned shutdown. We need to have minimum problems of reliability issues. We need to have our equipment running. We don't want to lose the warranty. We don't want to lose our customers. We will spend, because the implementation of this process safety management system means that you are going to pay money also to implement this system in place, from softwares, from documentation, from man-hour works, from follow-up, from activities, auditing, getting third party to do audits. This is money spent. This money getting spent to implement and make sure that it's a reliable system. So you need to commit. You need to say that I'm going to commit. Management is management commit, and you say that we are going to implement it and we are willing to pay whatever it requires, and we will encourage the company to follow it. And we, in an employee level, we need to commit whatever coming from management, we need to implement. That's why we are working there. If you feel that there is something management is requiring and you don't want to implement, look for another place where it fits for your purpose. As long as you are signing a contract with a company to stay in this position in this company, we have to obey the rules and follow the rules. So first of all, commitment, which is two sides: leadership commitment and staff commitment. Then it go to the understanding, how to understand the hazards, understand the risks, and understand the level of risk that you have. Then we go to the third cornerstone, which is how to manage the risk, how to manage it in terms of either eliminate its occurrence or to control its consequence. Then finally, learn from the existing facility, learn from your personal incidents, your company incidents, and your log, record this, and learn from others, and audit yourself, and ask the management to audit you, and make sure that there is no gap. And when a gap is identified, this doesn't mean that we are pointing fingers towards someone to just put a blame. Putting blame is non-professional at all. So the point is not blaming, the point is learning. So nobody should be shy or afraid or scared or just want to hide a gap in his process safety elements. One element he didn't follow. Yes, we are at a risk. Let's say that you go and you implement modification without MOC. Without MOC means to say that you thought that if I do this, I won't just jump over. It's just a pipeline. Okay, but it needs to be studied thoroughly. So yes, you have done an MOC without an MOC. You implement the change without an MOC, but if you go back and report it, we will immediately estimate the risk of this existing, now it become existing, of this existing modification, and try to identify mitigation to this, and we will activate the MOC process. So yes, it happened, but now we know, and you report it, you have the encouragement to say that we have a gap, and we implement the MOC system. So this is how we are doing our PSM: commit, understand, manage, and learn. So as I told you, the elements are more or less the same. So I just put in a table, which will be for you just to go through. There are elements for commitment. I segregated by standard as per the illustration. And by the way, here it doesn't say that there is no commitment in the DuPont, as I mentioned. If you see here the DuPont column for the commitment element, there is nothing there. I'm not mentioning. This is not stating that DuPont has no commitment element. No, this is go back and refer that I told you. There is some elements are integrated and disintegrated. So the commitment in the DuPont is segregated and is covering the whole elements. So they didn't put one element or certain elements for commitment. They meant the commitment for each element. That's why here, if you segregate the elements, you will not find it here as clear, but it's integrated to other elements. And then there are elements related to the understanding of the hazard, which we will go through in later lectures, inshallah. And there are elements related to how to manage the risks and manage the hazards. And within these elements, you will find our topic today. OSHA call it pre-startup safety review. DuPont also call it pre-startup safety review. CCPS risk-based process safety approach call it operational readiness. Energy Institute call it operation readiness and process startup. And Shell asset integrity and PSM standard call it operational readiness. So it's all, as I refer in the first front page, operational readiness and pre-startup safety review is integrated together. Whenever you hear operational readiness, this is a big umbrella. One of its key elements or sub-elements will be the PSSR, which is our target for today's session, inshallah. And the final pillar is learning. I mentioned there the learning elements for your information also. So it's showing different elements for each standard, how it follows. And from here, we can start to go through our short journey today. I'm expecting it will not be long, but till now, I'd like to know if anyone has any question, please let me know. No questions? Can I proceed?
Okay. We have someone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thought someone wanted to ask something. Okay, so you will proceed with focusing on the OSHA one.
I'm not going to focus on one standard. I'm going to focus on the PSSR itself, which is the same process applied in all standards. It follow the same criteria.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
So the aim of this is just to bring people from our seats. Now we are relaxed and we are feeling comfortable and just want them to jump into a PSSR. So before jumping to the PSSR, I want to take them through the gates of PSM till we reach it.
Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, go ahead.
Right. Shall we proceed?
Let's go.
All right. So what happened? Sorry. Now we will start by the element of it's element 14. Just don't take a reference that this is element is extracted only from CCPS. Again, I'm confirming it's the same for all, but it's element number 14 in CCPS risk-based process safety approach, operational readiness. What is an operational readiness? Before we go here and just look at the operational readiness. Operational readiness is to make sure that the operation is ready to move. Just in your life, this is my advice. In your life, whenever you meet or you face a terminology, try to understand the basic definition or the basic translation of this sentence or this term or this statement. Just it's called operational readiness, or it calls pre-startup safety review. So it's a review. We are doing it to make sure that everything is safe at the stage of pre-startup before we starting up, in order to make sure that the startup will happen properly, and the facility will start up smoothly and will continue running. People rush to start, but they don't see the negative part. The negative part that you can start quickly, no problem. Start and then have a fountain, or start and then have a trip, and start and then have an accident or an incident. This is a failure. So it's better to start properly. That's how the operational readiness or the PSSR doing. Operational readiness is a systematic process to verify that the plant, and intentionally the equipment which are fit into the plant, and the people who are going to operate the facility, everything is perfect. Everything is prepared. We are ready. When you say we are ready and you give this good thumb to the management, we are ready to start. You have to mean it. And you have to make sure that you are transparent. And you have to make sure that whatever you are telling the management, they are following you, because management are not going to go on the side and make the PSSRs and make the checks after each person. There is a level of transparency. There is an ethical level of commitment from employees toward management to make sure that we are doing the right approach. So the operational readiness is simply a systematic process or a systematic way to verify that the plant and the equipment are in safe condition, and that the personnel who are going to operate are appropriately or properly prepared before startup or return to normal operation. Conducting a PSSR is an essential element in achieving the operational readiness. Okay, so the operational readiness, this is the thumbs. So one of the things that you need to give to the management in the thumbs will make sure that you are raising your hand correctly, not only readiness of other systems, but also readiness of the facility. And the readiness of the facility is coming from a PSSR. And here, operational readiness is applicable under the following conditions. Starting up a new facility. You have a project, you are working in a project, and the project is going in construction phase, and then it will go for pre-commissioning, and then it will go for commissioning, and then it has to be started for it has to be started up. So there is a certain level that you need to do a PSSR. But when I need to do a PSSR, as long as construction is on place, no hydrocarbon around, it's okay. You are good. Units are still not operated because, of course, no hydrocarbon. But let's say in utilities you are going to introduce water, it's not hydrocarbon, yes, but there you need to do a PSSR before you introduce it. Okay. Hydrocarbon is going to do, if you are doing commissioning activities on hydrocarbon, certainly will be there. So you need to do the PSSR before you're introducing the hydrocarbon. Why? Because I need to make sure that whatever I insert, whatever I introduce to the system will not go outside from the other side. Yani, I have a pipeline, I put from this side, I want it to go I put it from the right side, I want it to go from the left side. I don't want to be surprised by having this inlet coming from other laterals. Okay, so starting up a new or a modified plant. So if I have a modification or if I have an extension, some of us have some expansion projects in his facilities. So before you start it up, yes, I have a running facility. Okay, but you are going to start this one. Okay, I'm applying SIMOPS, simultaneous operations. Okay, SIMOPS is nice. SIMOPS is important to make sure that the running facility will not be impacted by the one under construction or under commissioning. But when we are speaking to starting a new facility, this new facility which you are constructing, you need to do a PSSR. So PSSR for new and modified facilities. Also, as I say before, when you start an existing facility which is already in place, built up, but we are in shutdown, but in a plant shutdown, like we stay for a long time, this can be considered as 1 week. By the way, if you have a pump trip and you need to start, you will do a quick check. If you focus on the quick check that you are doing, because if you have some trip on the pump, you will find the operations representative and the maintenance representative around with some engineering support to make sure that the problem that happened lead to the tripping of this pump has been resolved. So this is in itself, in its meaning, it's a PSSR, but in a very small level. And it can be escalated to a partial trip or full trip of the facility before you start, or a plant shutdown. You need to do a PSSR. Why I need to do a PSSR? To make sure that I'm ready. Why? Because during the shutdown, I might apply blinds, I might apply isolations, I might use some temporary modifications under MOC, of course, but these ones are there only for the matter of the shutdown. But before starting up, I need to remove. So you need to make sure that everything is in place. Everything should be isolated, is isolated. Everything should be in line, and everything is safe to start. And this is also implemented, as I mentioned, if you have something out of order for some time, maybe for maintenance, maybe it's under shutdown since long time, maybe it was you have an overhauling outside the outside the facility, and they just brought the equipment back, and you want to install it and you want to start. Before you start it, you will conduct a PSSR, but on a level of equipment. So the PSSR is applied on an equipment level, and it can escalate it up to a facility level. But on a small level, you are not going to follow the detailed checklist of the PSSR. You will follow a properly developed checklist, which is part of the process safety elements coming under the management, which is coming under operating procedures. And under the operating procedures, you will find the the SOPs, also sorry, the maintenance procedure, and you'll find the SOPs of maintenance, which will give you the checklist that you need to do to hand over either from operation to maintenance and maintenance to operation. So at the end, we are talking about pre-startup review. So these are why we need to apply, or when we need to apply the operational readiness of the PSSR. So PSSR is applicable
Okay.
for a steady state. Please.
We have one question in the chat before we proceed. From Engineer Muhammad, he is saying, just one query, please. Do you consider CCPS a comprehensive management system or just an approach?
This is a question to me.
Yes.
It's my honor. It's my honor. I consider it as a very comprehensive, detailed process safety management system. And for me, it solved a lot of, for myself as person, it solved a lot of issues. Sometimes, not so recent, but recently, and within a couple of years, I had to go through this nice discussion with some of the engineering entities. We were working to develop something, and we were under the argument whether to follow the 14 element of the OSHA or to go through the CCPS. And we have a comprehensive discussion about this. And actually, I found that the CCPS is covering the element, or disintegrating the element to a minimum level that makes sure that all process safety elements are covered properly, and no opportunity for anyone to eliminate or to exclude or to oversight one of the elements. So because sometimes you have an element, if you have, let's say, if you have 14 elements, and these 14 elements are covered are the same like the 20 element, okay, but let's say that one element in the OSHA is disintegrated into 3 elements in the CCPS. This is just an example. I'm not saying that, but this is just an example, okay? So the element in the OSHA has internally, they have 3 parts to be done, which was disintegrated in the CCPS. So one can claim that I already implement this element in the OSHA, but actually implement only one part, and he oversight one part, and he defer another part. So it end up by actually you implement one and you ignore 2. So I said, or I found that no, it's properly to go for the CCPS. Is it answering your question, sir?
I believe so, but he is yeah, well noted. Thanks. He said so. His mic is not working, so yeah, he's typing in the chat. Okay, you can proceed now, and thank you for your answer. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So again, let's go back. PSSR purpose. Why I need the PSSR? PSSR is applicable for steady state operation involving any modification in the plant with a change in the P&ID, ESD system, DCS system, installation of new equipment, systems through management of change process. So any change happen, any new change happen, either this is an MOC, and some companies are putting the PSSR as a part of the MOC. Some companies are linking the MOC system to the PSSR system. So at the end, any change or any modification, it will call for a PSSR after you complete everything before you start the facility, and also if it's a new facility, as we mentioned. PSSR intent is to supplement and make sure underline this. We are not in the PSSR. We are not doing design. We are not meant to do. But just make it clear statement. We are not meant to do design reviews. We are not meant to do HAZOP. We are there to make sure that these things have been done properly, and the recommendations coming from there, the actions coming from there, were implemented. So this is very important. Then it makes sure that the construction and the installation are good. So we are not meant to do the work of design or HAZOP or construction or installation or maintenance. We are there to make sure PSSR is there to make sure that these things have been implemented already and the recommendations are in place and things are safe. Unfortunately, people sometimes say that the PSSR is an inhibiting and bureaucratic step or a bureaucratic approach that will delay the startup. Unfortunately, this will detrimentally, lethally, fatally, awfully, I'm sorry for saying that, impacting your facility. Yes, it can start. However, once it starts, it will trip, or someone will die, or someone will have a very serious issue, or the management will lose money, or the production will not be happening, or the contracts you will start to pay penalty because you cannot produce what you have signed contract for. So why you need to rush? Why you need to, doing things properly is not making that. Doesn't mean that you are doing it slowly. It means that you are doing it correctly. Sometimes people, when you mention process safety, safety, okay, safety, it's all about fire extinguisher and fire hose. No, my dear friend, my dear brother, my dear sister, this is not all about this at all. It's to make sure that you are safe, your facility, you are safe, first of all. And because you are the precious asset, again, I'd like to re-say this again and again, the human being compared to the facility. Who created the facility? A human being. But who created the human being? Subhanahu wa ta'ala, the greatest, the merciful Allah, Azza wa Jal. But from here we can get the monetary value, if you want to call it monetary value. You cannot be, as a human being, there is no price for you. You are above any price. So first of all, I need to make you safe. PSM will make you safe. PSM will make the refinery or the petrochemical industry or the LNG facility or the NGL facility or whatever facility will run, will start up, will move, will do the production, will apply, will implement the intention of the design, and it will never fail unpredictably. Okay, it will fail if you didn't follow properly the systems. So this is the point that we need to highlight, and we need to encourage people, and don't get fed up. This is my advice for all. Don't get fed up. Don't lose the intention. Don't lose the attraction of the subject. Just keep saying to people, try to implement, encourage, influence, train, lead by example, show. This is making people try to think. After some time, they will stop and think, why he's doing like this? Why she's doing like this? Let me think what's happening about this PSSR. And maybe when he read it, maybe when he open his ears and open his mind, he can hear and understand. So the purpose of the PSSR, how PSSR will help, this is the question that we need to answer. How the PSSR will help to ensure that once the facility starts, it will continue running and avoid the project delays or serious cost implications. The answer is as simple as follows. Number one, confirm that the system is built as per the design and is operable and maintainable safely and reliable. And between brackets, is, not can be. can be means can be accept yes or no percentages. It might or it might not. It is not can be. It's is. So confirm that the system is. Because sometimes you feel that yes, when you go to a VSSR and you find a deviation, you will find maybe someone come to you. Yes, but it's okay. It can be moving and will no problem happening. No, my friend. The system was designed as this and was hazard. We assess it, we test the risks in the hazard and previously on the QRA and after that in the cell and QRA, then hazard and cell. Based on this design need to be here. Whatever we have in documents need to be on ground, or else we need to re-estimate, re-evaluate the situation now. So it is, not can be. Number two, it helps us to make sure that whatever equipment we procure from outside and it's on site, it's as per our specification. Before you import any equipment, you send a specification to the construction company or the vendor or the supplier. I need this specification. You need to check it before you put it on site. So the PSSR will make sure that whatever you have is matching the design. You don't have wrong specification. There should be some gates of verification before it come on site, but let's say that this is the final gate of verification before you start. So you are doing cross-check for everything to make sure that everything is correct. Or maybe wrong constructability. The design route was like this. The general arrangement drawing, which you call it GA drawings, was like this. And all comply together. The 3D model was okay at all levels. And then the construction is different in one part. Let's say, I'm not going to say that the whole construction is wrong. No, the construction of this particular, the nozzles are shorter than it should be. The cooling tower is not at the same assembly level that that should be. This line, which is having a high temperature, is moving in a pathway where people are expected, operators are expected to move. Some heating element, some elements are introduced into heat or heat radiation coming from hot lines. All of this need to be checked in the PSSR, need to be highlighted and need to be adjusted. Also, PSSR make sure that the construction is fully completed. I'm not going to say that I'm ready to start and then I find that I have pump pipeline is not there. Construction is still not completed. Okay, I miss it. Okay, I miss you. So this is the problem. So construction is fully completed. But how can we make sure that the construction is fully completed? System is mechanically complete. That's nice. Nice word. Yes, system is mechanically complete. If I tell you like this, don't believe me. Believe me when I come to you with a system mechanical completion certificate saying that this is the approved system mechanical completion certificate, we are ready to go for a PSSR in order to go and start up the facility. So PSSR prerequisite is to have an SMC, system mechanical completion. You call it SMC, you call it, yeah, there is a question?
We have a question, but next stop, I don't want to interrupt you. So whenever you can take a question, just let me know.
All
Okay?
right. I'll just finish these points. So the SMC is certificate is to be approved. This is very important. Also, the PSSR, make sure that all MOCs, if you are talking about whether a project, because there are projects MOCs and there is MOCs in normal operations. So whatever the scope of the PSSR, any MOC related to this scope is completed, document updated, everything is in place, and we are ready. Also, the PSSR makes sure that all HAZOP recommendations that was done in the HAZOP are implemented, and not only implemented, and your process engineering team or discipline engineers went on site and verify on documents, in design documents, and on site that they are implemented. All process safety information are available, and involved personal competencies records are available. What is the meaning of this? The meaning of this, I can develop whatever process safety management elements as I want. I can develop a PSSR, put a procedures, format, everything in place, and then I start knocking the heads. Why you are not following? Why did I train the people to do the PSSR? So get one step back. Did I train the operators how to operate? Did I train the maintenance how to maintain? Did I certify? Do I have a record of the competency level of the stuff to make sure that they are fit for purpose, like we are doing our asset integrity team when they go and inspect an equipment and they give you the fitness for service. When you go for the company in any employment, in any company, there should be an employment medical check. You are going to do the medical check to get the fit for service. So also the plant need to be fit for service. So the process safety information should be available, and people need to be competent enough to do their job. Okay, and then PSSR will make sure that all relevant PSM elements are available, implemented. So there is no modification without MOC. And if there is a modification without MOC, it needs to be captured in an MOC. And that doesn't mean that I'm going and just I copy paste whatever on site on some documents and submit it just to take a document. No, it needs to be studied and follow the MOC procedure. So this is what I refer to. All relevant elements of PSM have been appropriately addressed. And finally, basic safety, health and environment, and fire protection items have been checked during a physical inspection of the facility. That have been to say, when you go on site, do the PSSR, and there is in the layout there is a fire extinguisher there. Let's say that you are doing PSSR for a substation, and there is a place for a fire extinguisher, and you go there and it's not there, and they're telling you we will bring it just before we start up. Okay, my friend, I can't give you the PSSR. I can't approve it for you. You will continue like this. This facility will, or this unit will stay unable to start because I will not release the PSSR certificate to you until this point is there, until this fire extinguisher is there, until the first aid kit is there, until the fire protection is there, until the systems are in place, until the environmental issues are resolved. So this is very important. We need to capture and we need to keep in mind. I am ready to take a question now, Mr.
Okay, we have a couple of questions in the chat room. So the first one from Engineer Ahmed Abdelhadi. He's asking, okay, what is the right actions if my managers need to start the production quickly without safety review? And actually, this is very, very, very valid question. We face this issue on regular basis between the production that needs to be continued as quickly as possible, and the safety, who is the devil here trying to stop everything.
There you go. Okay. Okay. All right.
What are the right actions?
This is the first question. Okay, Bishwans Ahmed, thank you so much, Bishwans Ahmed Abdelhadi, for this very nice, simple and very tricky question. It's a valid concern we all face. And Bishwans Rida, he's saying that we are the devil. No, we are not the devils. We are trying to help facilities to start. The only point that I expect that some places have my pictures with X or wanted or maybe a black strip. So as long as we are doing the correct things, we are moving correctly. Let's say that management is asking you to do startup without safety review. If we can just go back a few steps before when we start our journey tonight, there was a referral to the commitment that the management meant to say, the leadership mean to say maybe the owner or the GM or the director who is managing, the plant manager, he consent and he requested to implement the PSM. So without this initial commitment, you will have this challenge. But that doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't do the correct action. The correct action, if you have an approved PSM framework, at least you know that the company apply the PSM or commit to apply the PSM, so rules are there. You need to refer back to the management with reference to the existing policy or the existing framework which was approved. Now, if we say that you are in a company, they are thinking of applying a PSSR or applying a PSM, but still not yet decided, and you are receiving a call or you receive a direction from management, no, start without PSSR. the right action from my perspective, this is my advice or my answer, will be I will prepare, if I'm in your shoes, what I'm going to do, I will prepare a risk assessment. I will do a risk assessment quickly using risk assessment metrics. And most probably you don't have a risk assessment metrics if you don't apply PSMs. So I will carry any risk assessment metrics. It's available. You can Google it. Just get one of the very generic one. Try to identify just the risks that you are facing from the not to apply the PSSR, and rank it. Likelihood you can get from the incidents happen due to poor or lack of PSSRs, and you will be so lucky. You will find a lot. Why? Because the PSSR is a joint element for many major accidents. Many major accidents wouldn't have been happened in. I'll tell you, changes and modifications on site in metallurgy without MOC. Constructing trailers of contractors inside a process facility without checking without referring to doing QRA, having a poor operating procedure, you have a lot of things are being checked in the PSSR checklist, and then go to the management or present to the management in 2 slides. What were the incidents? Just titles. What were the incidents happen due to lack of PSSR, and what were the consequences? And monitorize it, because this you will find the CSP, the Chemical Safety Board. It's a very rich website that you can go and check accidents happen there. From there, you can get the monetary value also of these accidents, and or if even you can find how much was the fines or the penalties these companies paid, and then go to the management. This is what if I follow without PSSR, and that's exactly the same value that I'm going to save if I follow the PSSR. And if you come back saying that, but this shouldn't, it not must to happen to us. If it happened to others, it might not happen to us. Yes, but there's an opportunity to happen to you. It's happened in the same industry, so the likelihood is actually high if you have no PSSR. So, is it answering your question, Bashmans Ahmed?
Okay, I hope he has a mic, but you can type as well. We have while we take other questions. Okay. Also, we have another question from Engineer Khalid Shammam. If we have a new equipment to be installed within a project, do we need an MOC or other thing?
Wow. Bashmans Khalid, first of all, I'm so glad to see you around here, and you are one of my close friends. Thank you so much for participating, and thank you for raising a very nice question. This is a very nice question. Yes, if you have a project, let's say a project is happening. Project, you mean that the construction ongoing, right? And this construction to happen, this means that there was a design happened before. So normally we start with engineering work, then we go for construction. Then if the new equipment, سؤال في حاجة أكمل؟
Yes, I can hear you.
حد هيتكلم مش مكسر. Sorry for interruption. Let's say that if we have a project still in the engineering work, we didn't finalize the engineering, and you introduce new equipment in the documents, in the design work, you don't want to do any. There is no need for an MOC because it's still in the design phase. Changes can be happening anytime in the design phase as long as it's still there. We didn't approve it. We didn't have the approved for construction level. Okay, so once you have an approved for construction and you start constructing, then you find that you need to introduce a new equipment there. MOC should be applied. Why? Because there is approved for construction there, and we need to have to modify the design documents, because the new equipment will introduce a new operating procedure, a new SOP, new checklist, new maintenance relevant documents, new inspection requirements. So you need new reliability requirements. You need to go and update on these documents. This has to be done through an MOC. This is applied because after the project construction, you start constructing any change, MOC should be applied. But after I do this, as long as this whole unit still not yet started or still not yet to do commissioning or to introduce hydrocarbon or to be in a startup notification, so no need to do the PSSR for this new equipment which was introduced into the project until the full unit is ready or the process system, this REST system is ready. Then you apply for this unit the PSSR. I hope that this is answering your question, Mr. Khaled. And thank you so much.
Okay, I'll try to let's make the taking the question at the end of the session so that we can have some time to finish the slides and then take the discussion there, or okay.
I'm fine
okay,
with
so
whenever
whenever guys you have a question, you can type it, okay, in the chat room. We will go by them by one by one. But if you have something that, okay, like dependent, you cannot understand the point, of course you can raise your hand. I can see that Mr. Daniel is raising his hand now. Okay, I will let him to ask as well. But let's make the major discussion. Let's make it at the end of the session. Okay, Mr. Daniel, you can ask if you have a question now.
All right. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. I just have a couple of questions. During PSSR, what is actually the role of the PSM personnel in ascertaining the internals of the vessel during a new project? Do we rely on the certificate of completion to issue a PSSR certificate, or do PSM personnel need to visit each vessel to ascertain that, yes, whatever is in the certificate is correct?
That's great. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Dr. Daniel, for this this nice question, and thank you for participating with us. And let me tell you something. Can I ask you a question, please? You can open your mic, Daniel. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Do you go and develop and review the operating procedures that was written by the contractor for operations? Or you rely on the operation counterpart who are reviewing, or operation in charge who are doing this job?
Come again.
Did you get me?
Please come again with the question, please.
All right. I'll just ask a question, just to answer your question.
Okay.
Do you rely, do you do the verification of the operating procedures that was developed by the contractor and reviewed by operation in charge before operation start?
I don't think that is the right thing to do. I don't think I will rely on whatever.
Let me ask you the other question. Do you rely on maintenance heads or maintenance in charge to review the maintenance procedure that was developed by OEM and contractors, or you do the maintenance review yourself?
Yes, I think that's a better approach.
Okay, so the way is that for the inspection, we have asset integrity. Let's say it's not different from any project. It's the same everywhere. Before you do the final box up for any vessel, there is a pre-box up inspection. This notification is sent to operation, maintenance, asset integrity, and technical services. And for all of these, need to send their representative. And out of this, there is a fit for closure or acceptance from the company representative, that based on that the certificate will be issued. So you as an PSM, your role as PSM to make sure that this certificate is there and it's signed off by the company. And it's not just a certificate. The certificate is just a front page, Dr. Daniel. The certificate is just a front page. There is a dossier for each equipment, from construction, passing through all the construction phase, then starting the pre-commissioning of this process equipment or even pipeline, up to the boxing up of this to be ready for commissioning. So for you will find the certificate on the front page, but if you open the dossier, you will find all the inspection testing, or they call it the inspection testing packages. How when they check it at different levels, internals were checked, no rust or corrosion signs inside, everything is fit, it's aligned, and flanges are operating, everything is checked. So you just make sure that this document is there. Is it answering your question?
Yes, please. I'm okay. I'm okay with the answer. Yes.
Thank you so much. So let's proceed. We passed most of the way. The remaining is not much. Just here, because I mentioned here all process safety information are available, just to make sure that the word of, or the terminology of process safety information is well noted, or known for all the participants. Process safety information are the written safety information which cover the hazards of the chemical used in a process technology, in the process, in a technology, in the equipment. So you are having the full information about the process area at the end. So you are safe to operate it. So that have to say that this is including but not limited to the following: P&ID, PFDs, flow diagrams, operating procedures, isometric drawings, data sheets, safety data sheets, engineering calculations, relief valve calculation, control scheme, control narrative, codes and standards that you follow, relief load summary, flare load or flare check or flare study, QRA, HAZOP, CEL, the reports. And these are some examples from a process safety information, just to let you know what when we call process safety information, we are targeting these. So just to let you know that this is a very important and critical element from process safety elements, and it's part, just to link things together, it's a part of the PSSR to make sure that the scope, all the documents related to the scope which we are going to start are available and are reflecting the actual. I'm not having an old obsolete document which are irrelevant to the existing facility, and it end up by the operator using irrelevant document to start the facility. So definitely he will mistakenly operate the facility, and we will have undesirable consequences. PSSR types. As I mentioned before, we can do PSSR, but for what? We can do PSSR not only for process areas, but for control room buildings, satellite control buildings, substations, and process areas. So it's not only for process, it's also for non-process. But is it the same check I'm going to do? No, my friend, no. Each type of PSSR has its own checklist developed by the Process Safety Management Department to focus on this scope. So if we are going to do a satellite rack room or a control room, this is there is a defined checklist for this. You cannot use this to check substation, and you cannot check the substation checklist using the control room checklist. And you cannot use any of them to check the process area, and you cannot use the process area checklist to do the PSSR. So just make it in mind. And I can see by heart some of you are just this can't be happen. I'm telling you, please don't be so confident. I saw it happening, and it's still happening. I hear it's happening somewhere else in some places. So it's happening, my friends. So please make sure, whether you are a PSM man or a PSM engineer. I'm sorry, I'm not toward any gender, but just you are a PSM representative, or you are a process engineer, or you are in operation, or you are in integrity, or you are in maintenance, or any other engineering discipline. As you are included in a PSSR, make sure that the checklist you are going to use is relevant to the scope that you are doing. And another thing to make sure of, you are not wrapping the checklist and put it in your back pocket and do a safety walk. there is a big difference between safety walk and PSSR. PSSR looking looking into the process to make sure that everything is safe to start. Do a safety walk, you might look at the process just if you're interested. Mainly, you are going there to check if there is slippery places, if there are holes, fire extinguisher are not there, they are not inspected, fire reels are available, hoses are available, fire water is okay, permits are applied, people are wearing the PPEs, safety showers are working. That's nice, safety walk. And unfortunately, it happened. It's happening. People are wrapping the checklist, put it in their back pocket, and do a safety walk. Then you go back and the management surprise. Why we have all our observations coming as safety observations? And the point, they start pointing towards safety that they are trying to make problems. No, my friend, the issue started when the team decided not to use the checklist and move with this checklist, but not in hand in their back pockets. That's why it's not implemented. So please, this is my humble begging to you guys. Please, if you have it and if you want to implement it, implement it. Don't have it just a matter of documentation, because it will mislead the management. And the time management will discover that you have hidden this information will be the same time this gentleman or this lady who did this will leave his job. You don't want to lose. At the end, your intention to start quickly was to satisfy management, and unfortunately, management will not be satisfied if you start wrongly. So this is the intention. So PSSR workflow. Let's see here how we are doing the PSSR and walk the way. PSSR, first of all, initiation. Initiation means to say that, let's say that you are the area operation manager or area manager or the plant manager, call it whatever you want to call in your facility, and you have received the mechanical completion certificate or the mechanical completion dossier from the contractor, and you are ready to introduce hydrocarbon, or sometimes readiness dossier that you are ready to introduce hydrocarbon or to start the facility. So you call for you want to call for a PSSR. So first of all, you assign a PSSR lead. Then this PSSR lead will pick the team and then make sure this team is multidisciplined, and each discipline has a specific name with an email and contacts, and then you send to them notification, guys, we have this scope for MOS for PSSR we are going to do. Please be invited to attend the next stage, which is the kickoff meeting. Then everyone go to the kickoff meeting, they listen, and the PSSR lead is explaining the PSSR scope, what we are going to do. So he presenting a small scheme, first of all, scheme, marked up color, some nice colorful slide to show what is the process area or what is the substation or what is the building we are going to do, what scope we are going to do. We are going to do the PSSR for the whole or part. It can be a partial PSSR or a full PSSR. Then, as a team, we review together the PSSR dossier to make sure that everything is in place and the plant is constructed. As we said, everything is ready, and we are going to do a PSSR for a system ready to be done, not a system that is still under construction. And I discovered, oh, I have many construction punches in my list, because you didn't wait for the construction completion because you want to start. You are rushing to start, my friend. And then you end up by a rock wall. You head to the wall and you stuck back doing PSSR with a long list of observations or punches, whatever you call it in your facility. Then after you review the dossier, you make sure that everything from a construction perspective is proven by evidence that it's completed. You start to agree on the PSSR checklist. The PSSR lead present the checklist, and we make all sure that this PSSR checklist is the proper one to be used. Maybe sometimes you find some irrelevant point in the PSSR checklist, you will exclude it, and we agree that we are going to exclude it, and this is what will happen. Then we agree on the plan. Tomorrow we are going to meet in this location at that time from where we are going to start. Then at that date that you decide in the kickoff meeting, you go for the PSSR walk down, assemble the team. Yeah, we meet together. We do a quick toolbox talk to agree what we are going to do today. assign the team. Maybe I need to segregate. The scope is big, so we can't move like one tribe. We can we can be segregated into different groups, and each group should have one scribe or one focal point to capture all the observations from others in a master checklist. That meant to say that each one has his own checklist, but there is someone will capture or will compile this team. Then each team will trace his own scope, and the end is to trace the whole scope of the PSSR using the PSSR checklist, not keeping in your back pocket or in your side pocket, or inside. Just use it, and then the team will consolidate the PSSR observations into one form. We go back to a meeting room either on the same day, and it's better to be done on the spot on the same day or on the following day exactly, the next day exactly, but it's the best application or the best practice to be done on the same day. Do PSSR observation categorization meeting. We meet together, we review all the observation that we have done based on the checklist. We are not putting observation from our minds. Sometimes you put additional recommendations, but mainly you make sure that the PSSR observations are captured. Do categorization. Categorization means to say that what need to be done immediately. I can't move for starting up without this, and what I can move with the startup with sometimes minor things like touch painting or non-hot applications. And I'm not going to have painting work on steam lines and or insulation work on steam lines, and I need to do it after starting up. This is impossible. I have to do some welding job after starting up. This is impossible. So these are some examples for the A level or A category that you should do before PSSR certificate sign. And there are some categories that can be done after it's starting up. So you segregate them. Then for each one of them, that doesn't mean that the one that you are doing after the startup, they will lie like forever. No, on the same meeting, you decide on the target date and who is going to do it. Not to be the actual doer, but will be the focal point to follow up. So then we will move to one step where punches or observations of the category that need to be done before starting up are closed with evidence. Okay. Then, and the other ones with dates and action parties and the progress status. And then this compiled into a PSSR report getting signed off by the PSSR overall coordinator, who is oversighting all the PSSRs in the facility, and then signed off by management, and then sign the PSSR certificate, which will give the approval for startup notification, and then finally or eventually starting up. The PSSR team formation is very important to be done, and it's responsibility of the asset owner or the operation head to nominate the PSSR lead. And the PSSR lead, he will assemble the team. And the team, as we said, that it should be multidiscipline and all should be expert or subject matter expert of their disciplines. I shouldn't have someone who doesn't know about this area participating to represent engineering or operations or maintenance or process. He should be aware about this area. He should be the focal point, the nominated person for this area. He's the best one to answer any question in relation to his discipline. And the PSSR dossier, as I mentioned, you will find here some information about the PSSR dossier, what should be the contents of the PSSR dossier and why it's required. And here just quick path through the checklist, what should be there available to check the construction and the equipment are in accordance with code and standards. Items not specified in design, like maybe arrows or directions of torque or torque on side glasses or something like, not detailed, not given in detail in the design, but are to make sure that they are done with approved design spec. They are not just done without any spec. Commissioning assemblies like commissioning strainers or blinds are removed and everything is settled, prepared to start up. Field inspection done and everything is finished. They don't have any insulation waiting or any plugs or any drains without plugs or vents without plugs. valve should be locked closed, the locks are not there. These things are very important, very crucial to be checked. Checks can be conducted whether no deviation from instrumentation, logic, philosophy, control philosophy is implemented, procedures are in place, and people are trained, safe work practices are being highlighted, work permit is available, and people know how to utilize it. Documentation and records as built status. I mean, the documentation should be updated to the as built. We said that approved for construction, as Mr. Khalid, he was asking if I have a new MOC or something, a new equipment to be introduced after the approved for construction. That's why we are producing the as-built version once we start the facility, not before. After we finish all the additional unit or all the add-ins, we finish everything and we are ready. Now this is the way we agree. This is the design that we are going to start like that. There's no more modification. This is the as-built, and if I change later on, I need to review and issue a new version. Make sure that the HAZOP, and this is very important, HAZOP recommendations. People make the HAZOP, put it on shelf. You need to go on site, make sure that the HAZOP recommendation have been implemented, ensure that the MOCs are implemented, training have been conducted for operations, maintenance, emergency, and other disciplines, confirmation that emergency response plan is available and is implemented. It's not only available because the plan is at the end, it's a procedure, it's a document, it can be on shelf, it can be in drawer. Without implementation, zero, has no meaning. Additional safety measures like notification to authorities, surrounding communities. People know that we are going to start. This is one of the process safety elements, which is called stakeholder outreach. We inform others about what we are going to do. We are going to start. Keep in your mind, starting and startup and shutdown are the most risky operation modes of any facility. And the most risky one is the starting up, because this is the one that you are introducing hydrocarbon to a new facility, so you need to make sure that you are using well, you flushed well, systems are well inerted, and you are not introducing hydrocarbon into air with nice spark, and we'll have all fireworks and no fun time. So just these are some of the additional safety measures that need to be checked. These are sub-samples for checklist that you can go through and check it one by one, just talking to the same that we have just mentioned. And you just mention here, either you mention yes, this met or not met, or not applicable, as I mentioned. Okay, and then you sign, and if there is a contractor representative, you need to sign. This is the checklist that you have, that we are going to compile all our observation in, and then start categorize and add action party, who is going to implement the action, and when he is going to implement it, whether it's A or B. It should be done before, or it should be or can be done after. And finally, the PSSR report, it should include all the information with regards to the PSSR, from an executive summary about the scope, introduction, the purpose of this PSSR, the team members who participated, what method we followed, the checklist. The method will talk to the checklist that we use, and then the observations or the punches that we had, the categorization, and where are the evidence for the ones need to be done before we start up, and what are the names and target dates for the ones that are pending or can be done after starting up, and then conclusion. That's what you need to submit to the management to get their approval. Then they will give you the authorization to start up. Now, do you agree with me on this statement? We agree that PSSR is vital and we have an idea how to do it.
Yes, please.
Yes, you have an idea, sir?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Fine. That's good. Here comes the most important question. How can I be sure that I have a proper PSSR process? Type. Now we know, all of us, alhamdulillah, whatever the number here, I respect all of the participants, and I really appreciate your participation. We know that we need a PSSR, but how to make sure that we have PSSR, or I want to develop it, how I develop it, or how I have PSSR system, how I make sure that this PSSR system is proper and I can follow it. There are something that we need to do. We need to develop, okay, the PSSR system. But firstly, You need to understand the key principles of the PSSR, then develop the structure, which is actually develop the deliverables of the PSSR, then monitor the performance of the PSSR system. Then out of this monitoring, you will identify some gaps that need improvement. So identify how to improve your PSSR system. And then finally, how the management will review the PSSR. So the lucky winner of this topic is the PSM subject matter expert, or the PSM department, or the PSM team. Those are the one who need to understand clearly the key principles of PSSR so that they are able to develop the structure and deliverables, and they will be capable to monitor the performance and apply improvement strategies whenever identified, and they will tell and aware the management or inform the management or make the management understand well how to review this process safety element properly and make sure that any gaps are closed. So firstly, key principles. Key principles, I'll just quickly go through them. Firstly, maintain a dependable practice. Secondly, conduct appropriate readiness review as needed. Make sure that you start the decision upon readiness results, not upon production direction or upon any other direction. Follow through on decisions, action, and use of readiness results. That meant to say that you have things in place, or you know when you need to you have a procedure informing you when you start, and you have the proper way or the proper checklist or the work processes that you are going to follow. You know how to do the PSSR, how the PSSR process workflow move, and what are the checklists you need to do. Make sure that you consider important things or important concerns that affecting the startup included in your review, and make sure that any decision and actions or recommendations are taken and implemented to make sure that the readiness is ready, or that the facility is ready. And finally, follow the thorough decision and action and update any process safety knowledge, records, documentation, keep measures just to make sure that you are covering the PSSR process from all perspectives. So this is the principle. So the principle is to have a base, how to develop how to design it, and how to use this design. And after using the design, how you capture the outcomes and you make sure that whatever recommendations are implemented. And finally, keep records, updates, so that you are all the time plan, do, act, check, plan, do, act, check, or plan, act, do, check, whatever you do want to do. But it's like this: do the thing, monitor it, and apply improvement and review it, and that's it. It's a cycle. It's moving cycle. Design the PSSR system. This is a PSM rule and responsibilities. What we need to do? We need to do key deliverables. The deliverables are as minimum as follows. To make sure to say that I have a PSSR system, you should have a procedure. This procedure detail the readiness review, detail what you need to do if you want to walk around the process and make sure that everything is as per the agreed, approved design, and nothing has been changed, and the equipment is very ready to resume operation or to start, and make covering for everything. And this is covering simple, as we mentioned, about pump or one unit or a whole facility. And make sure that the procedures are available and training competency records are available, and that's it. The procedure will cover everything. Will tell you what is the PSSR, how we do the PSSR, what is the process flow of the PSSR, what are the rules and responsibilities of each party, from operations, maintenance, disciplines, PSM, of course, even the management rule in the PSSR procedure should be mentioned. Then it will tell you the checklist, the different type of checklist that you are going to do. It's a referral in the PSSR procedure, and it will tell you how the notification looks like. It will give you it's a master book for a PSSR. Then you have to develop the PSSR checklist. Then we know that we need to have the PSSR procedure set that you have different PSSRs checklist, one for buildings, one for process areas, one for substations, one for control room. So you need to develop this checklist. You can't just throw the procedure and let people explore. You need to give them the guideline. These are the guidelines. Then after you give the guidelines, you need to train them, tell them what this is the procedure and how you are going to do it, and these are the checklist and how we are going to do it. And then do assessment for them. In the training side, you do assessment for them to make sure that they are competent to do PSSR. They are competent to participate in a PSSR. And me myself, as Ahmed Atiyah, I consider or I make in my mind that any PSSR participant can be a PSSR leader. Okay, he can be the PSSR leader on the spot. He shouldn't be on the spot because there is a PSSR leader, but himself, he can be a PSSR leader. So you should be aware about everything. So you should be competent to the level of PSSR leader. Develop readiness issue register. Whatever you have outcome from PSSRs, you need to have a record, as we mentioned. You have to have record to make sure that all lesson learned are captured. And whenever we have another PSSR in another area, this lesson learned applicable there, you go there and tell the people, take care. In the other PSSR, we face this issue, and you have the same as arrangement. Please make sure that you capture it from now during the construction in order to make sure that when we reach your part to do the PSSR there, it's already in place. That's what we need to do in a readiness issue register. Performance metrics. There are some performance metrics we can use to check the performance of our PSSR. Maybe to have the number of equipment that was wrongly constructed, or people who are not trained, or some off-spec product came due to startup problem in the startup procedure, or we can talk about the facility start and the faces a lot of spurious shutdowns after starting up. Incident happened. These all are element metrics. Also, we can take records for the number of readiness review that you have conducted, the number of readiness review that you have conducted, that have not been conducted before the startup, or the number of action items that was taken, how many was closed, how many overdue. This is all can be captured as PSSR performance metrics. Then, when we identify gaps, there are effectiveness improvement items that combine. One of them is combining the readiness practice with the MOC. Make sure that the PSSR is part of the MOC. So you make sure that the PSSR will happen. MOC will never happen, will never be approved until the PSSR is done. A PSSR to make sure that the MOC is completed properly, is designed properly and implemented properly, and is going to start up. So we have another consent, another level of consent before starting up, before livening up the MOC, to make sure that the change is safe. This is part. Develop a startup type checklist for readiness. Also track the readiness review action items. This can be also to be used for effectiveness improvement, just to make sure that your efficiency in doing the PSSR is increasing. And finally, management review. You are providing the management the guidelines, how they can say, how they can see the PSSR performance, how we are doing the PSSR process. They can review randomly sample of the readiness review or the PSSRs and see the quality of the document. They can determine whether the readiness process is being used or no. That's by identifying whether there are facilities started without their PSSR. There is no record for PSSR. There is no sign of PSSR certificate. So this is a point that management can use to review. Also, intervening and interacting with employees, asking questions, how the PSSR is happening. What is your understanding about PSSR? This is giving an indication on the competency level of people on PSSR. Determine if any incidents, okay, or deviations or off-spec or problem happen due to lack of PSSR. In the investigation of this incident, or is this production upset, one of the gaps identified, maybe the root cause, maybe the contributing factor. We identified that the lack of PSSR was there. So all of these can be used by management to review the PSSR performance and to see that PSSR is being done properly. I really would like to thank you all for your kind support and for your participation, and I hope that it was quite to the level that you deserve a lot. And if anything happening here today from me was done in a good way, so it's blessings and blessings from the great, the merciful Allah, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. And if any gap or any shortfall, it's purely from me, and I beg you to forgive me for that. And thank you so much. And كان معكم أحمد شفيق ومكملين مع بعض الطريق، والأسئلة مفتوحة. questions platform is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Engineer Ahmed. Brilliant as usual. And let's take the questions from the we can see yeah. This is much better now. Of course, you guys can interact also. Just raise your hand and you can take the mic. But I will just take the questions from the chat now. And okay, the first question is for many. Okay, for new projects, do we need a PSSR? This question is from Engineer Muhammad. He is asking, for new projects, do we need to perform PSSR for each subsystem at pre-commissioning phase, or a comprehensive one before the whole plant startup? So shall we have just one comprehensive PSSR for the whole plant, or a dedicated one for each subsystem?
A very nice question. That's a very nice question. Thank you, sir, for your kind question. This is a very, very good one. Let me tell you that there's a you gather between two things that far away from each other. You are gathering between subsystems and the whole refinery. Let's say that the refinery or the petrochemical industry or the plant is a plant. Under this plant, there are different units. Under these units, there are different systems. Under these different systems, there are different subsystems. So we are not doing PSSR for subsystems, okay? Because subsystems are not expected to be started up alone. You can say that maybe the system is small. Maybe you are talking about an instrumentation air system. You are going to line up the line from the utility side up to the plant area, and you won't live this area. So this is a system, yes, but it will do PSSR for this. So you do PSSR for the process unit. You are not doing for subsystems, but at the same time, you are not doing ignoring this and wait for a big one. It's the same way how you look at any problem. When you have any problem anywhere, are you doing, you are trying to solve the problem in the overall picture, or you start to do bracketing and eliminating and detailing and trying to identify the root cause and solve the root cause? This is the way. So I hope that this answers your question. Yes, it's going not for subsystem level, but it's going for a system which is the process unit. You are going to live a process unit that is able to start. You are going, it's able to start alone. Standalone sheet can start as even if in circulation mode, but it can start. You can do PSSR for this. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. Of course, you are free to interact with us, Engineer Muhammad, if you have any further clarification regarding the question. The next question is asking, is there any best practice and well-known management system for MOC, or this can be left to each company governance framework?
That's very nice. Yeah, the MOC, there are regulations calling for MOCs. MOCs is يعني I look for regulation looking for PSSR, but I found that PSSR doesn't need any regulation, because actually it's being governed by every worldwide regulations. Like everything that call for a PSM system, you will find it related to the PSSR. MOC has its specific owned regulations, and there are guidelines provided for an MOC system in all PSM standards. You can refer to any of them. At the end, they will talk under the same umbrella. They will tell you how the MOC system has to be designed, and what will take the same script. How you go for the MOC workflow, who is entitled to do the MOCs, and what are the types of MOCs. What else? They will talk about the MOC deliverables. What's expected, the MOC report. What are the contents of the MOC reports? The level of authorization. or approvals. So all the PSM standards have their are covering the MOC procedure. You can refer to any of them. You can refer to CCBS, you can refer to OSHA, you can refer to NIPOSH, you can refer to any MOC system under any PSM standard. Is it answering your question, sir?
Yeah, I believe so. Also, another question. Thank you for your patience. You have made it follows the PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act, the complete continual improvement system. He's confirming that you are making it like a continual improvement system. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are totally right, sir. It is, and make sure maybe, and just keep in your mind all the time that this is applicable even in your personal life, everywhere. If you want to improve, if you want to go to one step more, every step you want to go more, first of all, you identify the gaps. You start your rule. I'm starting my rule now. I start to identify my gaps in the existing rule and try to close it. Once you close it and you fit for this and you start to pride, people will, or other headhunters, or maybe in the same company, they will look for you on a different view, and you will be moved one layer up, and that's it. So that's how you plan, you do, you act, and then also you check, and then you act and review and continuous improvement like that.
Okay. I can see that Engineer Mahmoud is raising his hand. You can ask your question, Engineer.
باشمهندس معلش انا مش سامع، انت سامع حاجه؟
No, we cannot hear you.
السلام عليكم.
ايوه وعليكم
وعليكم
السلام
السلام.
ورحمه الله وبركاته.
First, I want to thank you about your very nice presentation.
شرف
I have
لي.
two first, is any relation between SOP operation procedure and PSSR procedure?
The microphone is horrible.
Can you repeat again?
You need-
Relation between SOP procedure and PSSR procedure?
Yes, there is any relation. We need to review PSSR procedure before we make a safe operation procedure. This is the first. Second, the PSSR procedure. It is there is any expiry for the PSSR procedure? Expiry date?
All right.
If you please repeat the question again, Ahmad, so that we can all hear you. Okay.
Yeah, if I can hear it properly, Mahmoud.
Okay.
So if I can say it again, firstly you asked about SOP and PSSR, right? And the second question.
Yes, first question, the relation between SOP procedures and
The relation between the SOP and
PSSR procedure.
Let me answer you this question. If you can just mute for a second, I'll.
If you please mute your
thank
mic.
you, sir. Thank you, sir. So the PS, there is a connected link between PSSR procedure and SOPs, because PSSR procedure will detail the requirement to check before you're starting up, and one of the key requirements to make sure that the SOPs are available, and not only the SOPs are available. SOPs are available and approved ones, not draft. Approved SOPs are available, and the operators are trained on this and assessed, and there is record for their competency. They pass that assessment, and the assessment is not only knowledge-based assessment; it's the knowledge-based assessment and performance-based assessment. You took him on site and you simulate for him that how to operate this pump. He will show you from where he's going to. You shouldn't open and close, but he will tell you how to do it. So yes, there is a deep relation between SOP and PSSR. That this relation is that the PSSR will make sure that the SOP is available, approved one is there, and people are trained and they are competent to operate. This is the first question. The second question, Mr. Mahmoud.
شكرا جزيلا على السؤال الاول. السؤال الثاني بس لو البي اس اس ار لو هو اكسباير، لو في عندي نيو تكنولوجي اتغيرت في البروسيس، هل بيحصل في تشينج؟ شكرا.
شكرا يا باشمهندس. PSSR validation, PSSR procedure.
Sorry, repeat it again, Engineer Ahmed, because we cannot hear Engineer Mahmoud. Okay.
No, yeah, I hear it by heart. So it's Bashmans Mahmoud. He's asking, is there an expiration date for the PSSR procedure? And if we have a new technology applied in a PSSR or a new modification PSSR process itself, so shall we review it? And my answer to you, sir, that the PSSR procedure or an MOC procedure or any process safety element has its own procedure, which is a process safety procedure. It has a revalidation date. There is nothing with indefinite date left like forever. It needs to be updated, revalidated based on the latest updates, maybe organizational change, maybe the scopes. You have introduced new scopes to the facility that need unique or specified or detailed checklist. So as long as there is any change in the procedure, you need to go back and implement this change in the procedure. Sorry, there is any change in the facility or the existing plant in terms of the new process introduced, and this process is not reflected at any part of it need to be changed or add in one of your documents. So you issue another revision. Maybe the initial revision didn't detail the level of authorization to be there. So you go there and you update it based on the new and issue a new revision. Normally, we keep it for 3 years as a revalidation date. This is for any procedure like MOC procedure, PSSR procedure. Every 3 years, we have to review it and issue a new version. Is it answering your question, Bashmans Mahmoud?
Yeah. Okay. We have a question from Engineer Hisham. He's asking for a plant under operation and from PSM perspective, can we consider the PSSR as a general document which shall be prepared and approved, and it will be considered as a guide during future shutdowns?
Okay, you mean to say that you have a running facility already, and you don't have anything to start, anything to go for maintenance, and you have no project. So yes, in this case, yes, but unfortunately, nobody can assure or nobody can give this statement because you don't know when plant can go for unplanned shutdown, and you don't know when an equipment will be failed and went outside for maintenance, or when you are going to do a cold startup. So at any point of time, you need to immediately interact and prepare this document, keep it in place. Whenever you have the situation that calls for a PSSR, you need to make use of it.
Yeah. You have to be prepared. Okay, and Engineer Muhammad is requesting for next time we have a webinar about layer of protections. Okay.
Inshallah. There is one question, Bashmans Rida, I saw it from Bashmans Ahmed Naguib. What is the difference between punch list and PSSR?
Yeah. What is the difference between punch list and PSSR? Yeah.
All right. Punch list, I'll tell you something. Call it Muhammad, call it Ahmed. It's all names. So you call punch list, you call observation. At the end, these are the deviations that you identify on site while you are doing the PSSR. And you need to close it before you start up or after the starting up. So the punch list can be a PSSR punch list, but also sometimes the punch list is referring to the construction punches, which was issued in the construction phase after you do the construction, after the contractor do the construction, and he came to you saying that I'm ready to hand over to you. So you went on site, you did the site visit, and you identify some gaps there. Based on that, you have list of punches. So these punches need to be reviewed, closed before we move to the next step. So you have two different punches you can meet at any project phase. Construction punches, and these need to be closed before we move to the PSSR. When you move to the PSSR, there are PSSR observations. Some companies call it PSSR punches. Those are the ones that we talk about to categorize between A category or B category to be done before startup or after startup. I hope it's helping also.
We have a lot of thanks from Engineer Khalid, from guest, from Engineer Karim Muhammad Abdul Wahab, from Engineer Muhammad. Thank you all for
Thank
all
you.
of these great words. Engineer Muhammad also, Engineer Daniel Adanchi. I hope I can pronounce it good. Okay. Thank you all. Any question? Thank you also for being here and leaving Argentina playing. Yeah. It was not the best timing.
Hard decision. Now we can catch up the second half now. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank
many
you.
thanks and appreciation for all the participants. I really appreciate, and I'm really so grateful to be with you today. And this is a starting point. We just want to revive our platform. Stay tuned, and more will coming on the way with other better instructors or colleagues with experience. Please stay tuned, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.